Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a podcast focused on benefit auctions and fundraising events for the nonprofit community. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. And here it is, episode 4. That's right. Thank you for joining us. We got our microphones sounding good this week, I hope, if you're listening to this on the back end. Now, my name is Shelby Stokes on the cast.
Wait a minute. Did you turn the button on?
Oh, did I click the button?
Did you do the button?
Do
we have a picture behind us?
I believe.
Yeah, that's
yes.
it right there. You see it on the screen?
Okay, and well, we saw one on the screen that other
the
time.
The button has been clicked. If you're joining us,
did you hit record?
I did hit record.
Continue.
So one thing I do want to say is this episode will be about kind of expectations, intent of donors. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So if you're looking at the meat and potatoes, you can skip forward just a little bit. But my name is Shelby Stokes.
I'm Kelly Schenfeld.
And
I'm Mr. Paul Schenfeld. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. Appreciate you being here every week.
Hey, and it is February 24th of 2022. The season is about to be underway, it feels like.
Oh my gosh, we were on our airplane last weekend and traveling. So
we go. You were on an airplane, which is kind of weird, right? You have to travel with a mask now.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's kind of painful a little bit, but you know what? It's what you got to do. But
You gotta wear it in the airport too.
You got to wear it in the airport. You got to, if you take an Uber, you got to wear it in the Uber, and then you go to the airport. You keep it on, which I get it. It's important. All that. I'm not putting that out at all. But just let me tell you, it's a whole lot of breath in there. So
It's
gum
helpful.
is your friend.
Yeah.
It works. That's why we have that mask behind us
That's
today.
why we have that
That's
mask
right.
behind us today. Though the mask mandate in Washington State is dropping.
That's
fellas.
true, yeah. As of end of third week of March, I believe is where it lands.
Why
will
do it
be-
now? Why do
I
it
mean,
now?
I don't know.
I mean, that's just-
Because they want to taper it, you're right? I think they want to slowly go back to reality. But it is what it is. We are in the mask area, so now we have this mask background. If you're listening on the audio, sorry. But just envision a big golden mask sitting behind us because it's kind of one of our more enjoyed backgrounds that we've worked with.
And it kind of looks like somebody that would wear that would have a big snot locker or something to cover. So you want a mask.
Big snot
We
locker.
use-
I know about
Who's
those.
using snot locker nowadays?
I have a big snot locker.
Do you?
Yeah.
We used that one right in the middle of
my
of the pandemic. That's why we have that up. Because
Gotcha.
it was
Now I'm on board.
a
Yes.
reminder of days gone by.
All of the signs said, please cover snot locker, if I remember
Please
correctly.
shut the door to your snot locker.
6 feet and also cover that snot locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you traveled this weekend. Let's talk a little bit about that. You went on an airplane, helped a customer on the other side of the country. Travels were difficult. How was the event, though? How
The
did
event was
go?
great. Everybody was very happy to be in person. You could just feel the energy, and that's what we felt coming back live, is you felt the energy at these things. And, to be honest with you, I think that what it's kind of doing is, and we can get into the expectation later, but it's that first year that we're all going back. People are really going to be super excited to be together and super excited to be donating and helping causes. So I think that we're going to see really great results the first year or so, maybe,
Yeah. And I have to say that things are changing so quickly. Like I have a event coming up this weekend, and the conversation that we've had is like, what are other events doing right now? What does it look like? And I can tell you it's changing week to week. Like 3 weeks ago is different than it was today, which is going to be different than next week. So we're just trying to keep our finger on the pulse, but I think you're exactly right. People want to be back. People want to hang out and have a good time.
I do. I think they want to hang out and they want to have a good time, and they're listening better than they ever have.
Hey.
That's kind of a new thing.
Bonus.
Bonus!
So speaking of listening, let's recap next week. We talked about MCs.
We're going to recrap it.
We're going to recap it. Over or under, right?
Last week's episode.
Rickman said over. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm talking about toilet paper
Rickman
now.
said over?
Rickman said over always.
Wow, I love you, Rickman.
Coming from a guy who lives in a house full of women.
Yeah, yes.
Love you, bro.
Good job, Dave.
So we are discussing the grand toilet paper debate. I'm having trouble speaking
lips
today.
aren't working there, buddy.
Do what?
That's okay.
So if you got something to say, drop it in our YouTube chat. That's where we'd ask you to drop some stuff. But hey, MCs was our topic of last week. So how was your MC this week?
They
Kayla?
were
Kelly?
absolutely phenomenal. What did you call me?
Callie?
Callie. Callie is a dog, which, that's fine too. Callie's a great name, but she was our dog. Maybe you saw a picture of her. I don't know what's happening to your mouth, but that's okay. We're going to get through this. It was great. They were amazing. They were newscasters, which
Right.
is a very common thing, and
Okay.
they were electric. I just loved it. I did. They bantered off of Mark really well, and it just was a very smooth night.
The newscasters are very, very good. They're so good at reading the scripts and
Yeah.
being able to ad lib on the fly.
On the fly.
I've noticed that too in my experience when you just throw them a quick curveball and they can recover like that.
They can, and
They're
they can
great.
make it look smooth and make it look like it was planned.
Yeah.
And, some of them want to hop in and call bid numbers. That always drives me crazy because I have to write down the bid numbers, and they did not do that. I was very pleased about that.
Yay.
So let the people you hire write it down and call it. But
I mean, you don't like
anyway.
your wrist to cramp up
No,
when people are reading
don't.
1,000 numbers a minute?
Bidder 6159, bidder 3124.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. That's the worst.
My favorite is when they don't break up the numbers too. They just kind of drill in one, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But we're
8,
not
4, 5,
complaining.
5.
We'll take them all and we'll learn how to write them.
Yes,
These
exactly
boys
right.
don't write them. I write them.
Well, it gets back to the point of you got to have a meeting with your MC to
Gotta
make sure
have a
these things
meeting
don't happen.
with
That's right.
your MC. That's just one of the many things we covered last week.
That goes to expectation.
Oh,
Nice segue.
oh.
Hey, I see what you did.
Which is our topic of this week. What to expect, or what expectations do you want to set for your donor going into the fundraising gala, right? And I think there's been some back and forth. We're kind of trying to find a good description of this, but expectation is part of the conversation as well as incentivization of those key donors, right?
Those are some great words.
Boom.
Boom.
And what?
We're done.
Incentivize. 5 syllables? That's right. Chalk it up on the
5
board.
syllables. How much is that worth on the
The
board?
bear even likes it.
Dude, I'm winning the Scrabble game today. So expectations. Let's talk about those donors going back into the ballroom. It's kind of a weird situation, right? Some supporters have been there for years and years. I think it's easy to talk expectations with those. There's other people that just want to get back in person and feel what it's like to be in a community, in a fundraising space, or in a gathering of people. So I know you have a lot of thoughts and expectations, right?
I do. Which probably won't shock anyone. But
So you're talking about you invite somebody to your event and you want to convey, or the question you have is, how do I convey what I expect them to do at my event? Is that what you're specifically, what we're talking
and
about?
after you guys left at lunch, I thought to myself, you know what, one of the biggest things about expectations is actually understanding what everybody means by expectations.
Good point.
Because
Yep.
you think of something different, you think of something
True.
different, and then there's the right way.
Under or over? Always under. Always
There's the right
under.
word.
Yeah. I expect the toilet paper to be under, not over.
So, I mean, all joking aside, it's I think that it's okay to share coming back live goals and expectations of the people that you're inviting. So your big donors, your small donors, all the donors. And a donor isn't just somebody that's giving it the fund and need or the raise the paddle. They're the person that's buying the item as well,
right.
or they're a person that's donating an item, or they're a person, anybody that gives anything, And to be honest with you, the guests, they're donating their time. If they're buying a ticket, they're not donating it. But you know what I'm
You want to
saying
get
by
that
that?
mentality out of their mind.
wanna get
Ticket
that-
is not enough.
Yeah, a ticket is not enough. And I think that people are a bit afraid to share their expectations because there's this awful gray cloud around the word. And I think the word expectation opens up a huge conversation with people when, like you could say to me, Paul, gosh, Kelly, I expected pasta for lunch. And I say, well, gee, Paul, I wish you would have shared that with me earlier because you're having pizza. You know what I'm saying? And then I would have
You didn't tell me. How would I know?
You didn't tell me you wanted pasta. I probably would have made that happen. It's that's on a
get it.
simple level, but you could share that with your donors and your...
So you're essentially
things.
outlining what you foresee this person, what you're basically trying to figure out what they expect of you as well as what your expectations are for them.
It
which is kinda
opens
what you're
up the
getting at.
conversation, which I think is really important moving forward because, I think that when you have, look, we do the Hacker Open, right? And on a very small level.
It's a golf tournament
It's
for
a
any
golf
of you that are
tournament. It's
listening.
amazing, by the way. But there's a lot of work that goes to getting the money side of the deal, and that's kind of been my baby, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, I would just tell people what I expected of them to give. I need you to give me this, you know, and they'd say, well, gosh, Kelly, this year I can't do that. And I'd say, okay, well, that just opened that conversation, and there was no uncomfort. To be fearful of giving your desires, maybe, is a better word. I don't know, you know. I mean, I love the word desire. Just ask my husband. It's an amazing word.
Desires. So,
but, you know, to give them what you are wanting for the night.
Yeah, so surfacing what your intent, not your intent is, but what your end goal is, right?
Yeah.
And getting them to buy in on that end goal.
Because we are doing this for charities.
Yeah.
They should know what your goal is.
Right. If it was a party, you would be inviting them to a party. This is a fundraiser disguised as a party.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, I'm kind of struggling with the word expectations because of the scenario we're coming out with COVID, right? I think there's a lot of organizations out there that just want to get back together and throw a party. And I think the attendance is part of the expectation in this description, or at least in my mind, right? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to foster communities in person with people trying to connect and create that community. And the expectation of people being there is one of the baseline expectations when holding a fundraising event. I know that there was a conversation that was recently had with an organization where in the past they've had a room of 500. Now they're sending out the same amount of invites. They planned for 500 and only 200 people actually RSVP a week before. So all of a sudden that expectation on the end donor to be in person is no longer being fulfilled by the majority of the population.
Yeah.
Whether that relationship has gone cold or whatever the case may be, I think getting them there is the number one priority, in my opinion. If you're a school, if you're a church, if you're a grassroots organization in any way, shape, or form, get people there, and then next year you can set the expectations of your donors, is where I fall.
Yeah, and I agree with part of that, and that's the beauty of a committee. You know, a charity auction committee, you know, your committee, you can start that conversation within your committee and find out, you know, when you get your people all together before you send them out for marching orders, throw that word out there at them and see what they do, because the three of us don't see eye to eye on this, but the beauty of it is I respect and understand his side, and I respect and understand his side. And that it means that, okay, I have to waver my thinking a little bit, you know, to move forward for the success of the event.
Yeah, and I feel like Kelly and I are kind of dominating this conversation. Paul, what are your thoughts on
Step
expectations?
in, Paul. Come on.
Come
Just
on.
give us the
Set us
old
straight.
headlock.
I mean, it's
Dive.
50-50. You're the breaking vote, so whatever you choose will be held against you, okay?
Just, yeah.
I think
Lean,
we have
lean in.
lean in.
Lean in.
I think you could look at it, you know, of the example I'm about to give in two different ways. You could take the situation that we're living through right now in our world, and you can say, okay, we have lost 2 years worth of fundraising in a live auction environment. Now we're going to go back to it this fall. We're going to hit the ground running. We're going to do it again. You could go. This might be an opportunity for you to say, hey, we missed the last 2 years. We really need your help now more than ever. We would love to invite you, Bill and Susie Smith, to our event, and we hope that you can come. Can you come? Yeah, we'll be there. The next question is obvious. What can we expect from you financially?
And find the way to not.
Yeah. And
right, the way to not. Option two is maybe you are on from the side that is a soft sell. We have missed 2 years. We're short on supporters. We're trying to rebuild our foundation of supporters. Maybe now's not the right time to really hit hard on that question. So you're the only person that can answer that, because you know your supporters way better than anybody else. So you may have a certain demographic of your supporters that have always been with you. You could tell them, hey, Bill, we've missed the last 2 years, man. We need you more than ever. Can I expect $1,000 from you?
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be
And
afraid
if
to ask.
you've got some new folks that might be, thinking about coming to your event, tell them, hey, great, we really appreciate your support. We hope you can continue in the future to support us. Hopefully you can, however you would word it, we hope that you can support us financially as any way you can, but in the future, this is what we're going to expect from
and
you.
I think that...
And don't be afraid to ask that question.
Agreed.
Don't be afraid to ask it.
Yeah,
And don't be afraid of the
And my
answer.
apologies for jumping in here, but I want to bring value, right? There's another example that comes to
does
mind
that.
for this, and there is a Catholic school that we have partnered with for many, many years. And essentially, after having 2 years off of gala, their new families, new students are not accustomed to the fundraising cycle. So essentially, now they're in a situation where they have 2 years of new parents who don't really know how to function in this fundraising format. So now their new goal is to bring this event back together, and they have to retrain those families that have not been in the ecosystem for 24, 36 months in some cases, where they've been at this fundraising gala. So in this example specifically, I think you set the tried and true donor or supporter up with the expectations. What are, we've been here
There you
before,
go.
what's
Yeah.
your expectation? But those newbies that are just coming into the system, maybe you don't feel like you have the relationship with those new individuals that are coming in. I think you lower your expectations on those individuals, see what they do the night of, and then if you bring them back to the fundraising event the following year, you then set expectations.
Yeah, and maybe
Great
the word is
approach.
freaking everybody out.
Freaks me out.
It's my word. I know it's freaking you out. You need to get over that. Because here's the deal. My expectation is you're going to get over that. But maybe the word expectation is what's standing in the way of some people having the ask or the ability to, because, you've heard phrases, you've heard this, that, expectations just set you up for failure. Well, here's the simple truth of the matter is the only reason that an expectation sets you up for failure is if you have not shared your expectation with the person you are expecting it from. And that goes in any community, any family, any life thing.
Yeah, I mean,
True.
we are, constantly working with our team to try to set up expectations and follow through on those expectations. And I think that is really, this can be applied to almost any scenario, whether it be your spouse, whether it be your family,
Yeah.
whether it be working. Like we have an office team and we're working on expectations and how best to execute and move forward. All of that stuff comes to mind. In terms of real-world examples, if you're looking for the top 3 ways to set an expectation of a donor, the things that I came in terms of notes was financial, so what's your donation? Services, if they're a marketing company and you expect them to market the event or try to get X amount of people in the room, that could be a solution. But more traditionally, what we see is okay, Kelly, we're going to give you a table, and our expectation of you is that you're going to find 9 of your friends who can financially support the organization and bring them to gala. That has been a real-world example that we have seen for years and years, and it kind of works into this conversation very seamlessly.
That's
Very
tried and true
seamlessly.
philosophy.
That's tried and true
Yeah.
philosophy.
Right? That the responsibility of setting the expectations to the other attendees
To the table
is
captains.
to the table captain.
Yep.
So basically, it could take it off your shoulders if you're uncomfortable with that ask.
Yeah.
Get the
And
right
share your
table
goals.
captain.
Share your goals with those table captains, if that's, let's just use that as an example, so that they can share that goal and
Right.
so that people can work towards something, if at an event you don't know what the goal is, then you don't know what you're reaching
Yeah.
for.
And I think that this is an ongoing challenge with many organizations, right? Even pre-COVID, we came to the situation where there were some clients that would basically say, hey, I'm going to sell as many tables as I can, and then before you know it, a bank would support and send like all of their frontline employees, I guess, so tellers and individuals of that nature who don't have the financial means
Uncle Bob
to really give
shows
to the organization,
up, yeah.
right? So this
Gets
is
all
on-
sauced at the bar and he doesn't do squat. So
But Uncle Bob
leave
then
Uncle
becomes the
Bob.
entertainment. Come
Right,
on.
but then Uncle Bob needs an Uber. Who's going to pay for the
Dude,
Uber?
if-
Uber doesn't come to that town.
If Uncle Bob
it's all
does
trouble.
not try to break the dance floor at least 3 times,
Leave Uncle Bob
Does
home.
everybody have an Uncle Bob?
Yes. My Uncle Bob's super cool, though.
I think everybody has. I know.
I have Uncle Bob on both sides, and both Uncle Bobs wouldn't be doing that.
Can I add something here real quick? I mean, hopefully this doesn't go too far off topic, but it relates because you can offer rewards
Yeah.
for those supporters.
incentivize, yeah.
Hey,
Agreed.
$1,000 gets your name in the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
$5,000 gets the auctioneers saying your name on the stage.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's that.
Yeah.
So you can set these people up if they're new to your event. Hey, thanks for coming. In the future, if you become a $2,500 level donor, you'll get recognition here up on the screens. We'll even
Create.
say your name. We'll have your name in the catalog.
And I think it's
create
really
the incentive.
I think it's really intelligent to write down what your expectation is, black and white, right? Like if you come out and you say, I just hope the world's going to be a better place, and then that's your 12-month goal the first of the year, you got to put it into practice. How are you tangibly going to make moves towards the end goal?
Yeah.
What steps are you going to take this next week to push that goal forward? So that's how you do it. You outline your expectations. It can be high-minded, and then bullet by bullet, what is actually going to happen to make this a reality?
I have an idea.
Oh, jeez.
Go.
What if you had your table captains create a competition amongst tables? Boom! Whatever table raises the most money.
Is this like a table roll-a-thon?
It's
Are we-
very
is
much
the
like a
call-
roll-a-thon, but it's a table competition.
I love
And
it.
you reward that
You
table captain
reward the table
by
captain.
putting their name up on the big 12-foot
Boom.
screen and said Sally had a table full of 10 people and generated $10,000.
I think Sally is a 10 out of 10. Round of
She's a-
applause.
So is this a good idea or
Hey,
what?
This
Hey,
is a good idea. I think
let's-
there's a lot
yeah.
of different ways you could really like dissect that idea. In fact, that could even be another podcast, you know? Like how would you incentivize a table captain or somebody involved? And that could be tuition if you work at a school, that could be financial, that could be a getaway, that could be a one-of-one Princess Di Bear who is kissing me on the cheek right now. I love it. I love that idea.
I do too. I think it's great.
Okay, so we could go for hours on
Rex, we're not gonna do
expectations,
that.
but we're going to wind this down. We had to make this
Good job.
specifically about donors. If you'd like to hear more expectations or whom you should put or where you want our guidance on expectations for individuals in the event space.
And if you
feel
hate the
free
word
to let us know.
expectation, we understand.
Yes.
We can change that word. But just step outside of the box a little bit. It's about time to break paradigms here. So don't be afraid of expectations.
That's exactly right. Well, this is going to wrap for our week. We appreciate you being with us. You can obviously see all the places to follow us in the attached description. We ask that you potentially follow us on YouTube. If that is the place you are watching, thank you so much. And feel free to leave us a comment if you would so kindly. We also have a Facebook page. Feel free to follow us there. Like we said, video version on YouTube. I want to reiterate that. Please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. It only helps us get in front of more people that we can help. And please send us an email if that's your preferred method of communication. Our email address is auction@stokesauctiongroup.com. If you're listening on a podcatcher, leave us a review. 5 stars, please. Our intro music is Brighter Days Ahead by Mixard. We thank you so much and appreciate you joining us this week.
Go out and be bold, everybody.
Be healthy.
And go do good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We out!